Took some time, but we pointed out that tomorrow isn't here right now, baby. An absent mind came to roam around. Captured you in a foggy cloud, baby. Standing on my toes on the edge, I'm ready to go. See it clear when the shadows are lit, I'm ready to go. When we fall, we get up and go, baby. The way they think is paradoxical. Captured you in a foggy cloud, baby. Standing on my toes on the edge, I'm ready to go. See it clear when the shadows are lit, I'm ready to go.
Here we are, live and starting off this challenge. Let me know first and foremost if you hear me in the chat. It's much easier for me to be aware and teach you anything or show you anything if you can actually hear me. So first and foremost, let's just type it in the chat if you can hear me. It's going to help me quite a lot. My friends, very welcome to today's the first session of the Client Attraction Challenge. And I know we're starting off a bit early here. This call is actually scheduled to start in just about 7 minutes, but I wanted to start a bit early to get people the chance to come in and join us and talk a bit more about the challenge in general and see if there's any questions you want to address specifically before we get into the actual meat and potatoes of this call. And as you know, today, the topic of this call is going to be talking about your niche, talking about your vision, and actually creating an action plan for you and your business that you can use right away. And one more thing, if you have not signed up yet for the Client Attraction Challenge, I strongly advise you to go and do so right away. And you can do that here by going to coachboxunity.com or coachboxunity.com and joining up. It's a free challenge. We're going to do this for 6 days. This is the sneaky little day where we start off early. So if you're joining us today as well, this is the first day or the day 0. So this will be the 7th of those 6 days, but it's a bonus one. So I'll throw that in for you. All right, my friends, we're just going to start here in a bit once we have everyone have a chance to join us. See, someone wrote in the chat here, cannot attend most of the challenge. Are there going to be any are there going to be available during the week, the recordings for people who didn't purchase the lifetime access? No, the lives are going to go up. We're going to do the live trainings inside of the group. Those are going to be there for maybe a couple of hours, and then they're going to come down again. So that's the whole point. If you want to have access to it, if you can't attend live, we want to really encourage you to do this. That's why we set it up this way. We really want to encourage you to take part live and actually be in to make sure that you can take the actions. That's the whole thing of it. So they're going to be up for a little bit afterwards. So you can actually see that while the buffer and all of this, and they're going to come down at one point or another. So that's the whole idea. I see someone is recording this session, which is awesome. So then you have that sneaky way of doing it, but it's awesome. All right, my friends, a couple of more minutes to start things off. While we hang on before a few minutes before we do that, let me know also what expectations you have. What would you like to know? What would you like to learn? And how would you like to come out of this challenge? What would you like to have as the end result of this? Not recording. Missing word. Otherwise, that's a sneaky tactic though. And I heard someone, a bold Swedish guy, might have used that trick once or twice. Maybe. I'm not going to say that for certain. It's one way of doing it, though. I'm not going to give anyone any suggestions on this topic, but it's I've heard rumors of that sort. Anyways, we're all friends here, so it's a joking matter, of course. What I was going to say, the expectations you have for this. Where are you right now, and where would you like to be a week from now? If we sit down and talk, or let's say 10 days from now, Monday after the challenge, where would you like to be? How would you like your business to feel? How would you like to feel? What would you like to have as the kind of the first point of entry to the new way of viewing the world, the new way of actually seeing how we can create a business around this that is completely different? You've all heard people talk about these things before. I've heard 1,000 people talking about how to build a business or how to get more clients. And we're going to talk about that, but not in the way you might expect. And you're going to see that during this week. This is not the regular, hey, here's the thing, throw a bunch of money on ads, go do that, or just spam people with DMs, or just cold email people everywhere, or do a gazillion things on Facebook. That's not at all what we're going to do. You're going to see this is a completely different way of doing it than basically most of the other things I've seen out there. And I spent a whole lot of money going over different programs, different things over the last couple of years to kind of learn and to understand my way around this, because this is a constantly evolving industry, and the environment, the online environment, is constantly shifting and changing. So we have to learn all the time. Anyone who thinks they know it all, they're going to be left behind. So we constantly need to update ourselves, be on point, learn, understand, and see how we can really come together with all of this and understand the moving pieces. I spent so much money on golden nuggets, small pieces that a guru somewhere told me I needed. And obviously, if I take this nugget and I take that nugget, those aren't going to work together. So when I'm in that situation where I have two pieces not designed to work together, and I think they're going to work, I bring out the old roll of duct tape and I try to get it to work together. And obviously it won't, because it was never intended to work that way. Look at it from a holistic point of view, and look at it from the perspective we're going to talk about today, from your passions. That, I would say, is the most important thing. All right, I'm going to get a sip of water here. When we talk about the VIP as well, you know you can get that for free. I hope you've seen this, but if you bring 3 friends to the Client Attraction Challenge, we're actually upgrading you for free. So if you want to join the VIP group of this, get access to the Coachbox Unity platform for life. If you want to get the recordings, if you want to get the coaching sessions, the Q&A sessions that we're going to have as an add-on for this, we actually get to come together and have the Q&As, and we talk about everything we talked about in a smaller group setting, and do that together with you. That's a great way. Refer 3 friends, bring 3 friends in, and when they sign up, make sure they type your name in the little box on the form, and we'll upgrade you for free. So if you want to have those recordings, if you want to be part of the VIP package, just bring 3 friends you think would have value from this. And that's the easiest and cheapest way to get into it as well. So strongly recommend doing that as well. But guys, my time, it is actually time to kick this training off. And I'm going to get rid of this one. And then I'm going to say right here on coachbox.io/niche finder, that's where you can find the workbook for today. And you can go and get that right away. I'm going to keep that on the little page here, because that's the handouts for today, where you're going to be able to do the exercises we talk about and able to get the information and get the contents into your hands. I'm going to leave that on the screen, and then I'm going to start sharing this one. I'm actually going to bring that up like that. I'm not going to leave that on the screen, actually, because it looked horrible when we put it like that. All right. So let's jump into this. Today, we're going to talk about your niche. We're going to talk about the action plans that I think is logical to take. And we're also going to talk about something that is, in my mind, way more important, your vision. And remember this little quote right here. It's one of my favorite quotes from one of my favorite people in the world, Zig Ziglar. And the quote goes, as you can see, you don't have to be great to start, but you have to start to be great. And if we don't start, if we don't get going, if we don't do anything, we can never achieve anything. So fear is our biggest enemy. So let's dig right into this. And the first questions here, I want you to ask yourself these questions. And I think this is important. We tend to run ahead, and we tend to want to jump into all the things where we have like the cool stuff, like driving traffic, getting more people to see our stuff, building a website, doing all of these things. And we tend to forget the most important things. Why is it important to you to have a business, or to have your coaching business, or whatever type of business you're running? Why is that important to you? And where are you going with this? What's the goal? Why are you doing this? And I can give you some real world examples from my life. Where am I going, and what's the goal? For me, the goal is to be able to spend more time doing what I actually love, which is what I'm doing right now, teaching and helping others. It's about having more time with my kids. They grow up way too fast. If you can relate to that, you know they grow up so fast. And I want to spend time with that. I want to benefit people. I want to make sure I can help people just like you. I want to make sure I can help you avoid the pitfalls I did. Am I the best possible person for every single aspect of everything we do? No. But I've done a lot of mistakes. I had a lot of success that I think I can help you achieve as well, without having to fall into the pitfalls that I did. And how will your life look if you have managed to reach the goals you wanted to do? And people tend to think this is just mindset and all of these type of sometimes we call it bullshit, but it's not. This is really, really important. And how would it feel when you actually reach those goals? I want you to ask yourself these questions. And when you do that, you're going to see that some really important things are going to come up. And that, my friend, is something you need to tie into. You need to hook onto those things and actually remember that when times get tough, because they will get tough. So today, if you don't know where you are heading, your action won't matter. That's the first topic. And we already started to talk about that. We're also going to be finding and defining the niche you're in to actually help you get super clear on who you serve, why you serve them, and why that is important to you. You're also going to be knowing what needs to be done today. And we're going to talk about how you can let others know your goals so they can help you reach them. And this is going to be very, very actionable. And if you downloaded the workbook already, you might have looked into it and seen this. So let's continue just to the next part here. And the first thing I want you to do is I want you to think about your vision. What is the vision for your business and for what you do with your life? And let me tell you this, because I think this is super important. When I started Coachbox, which is the company that I run, I had an idea and I really wanted to help people. My whole vision of life is if you serve enough people, if you help enough people achieve what they want to achieve, I get to achieve my goals as well. And I turned my life around from being in a position where I couldn't pay the bills and I couldn't even buy food. I didn't eat for several days. The kids needed food. I didn't eat. That's how rough it was. And I was doing these things that everyone said, go out and sell, hard sell, or running around doing all of these things. And I was hitting a wall. And I needed to change, and something needed to change. I hadn't ever thought about visions. I never thought about mindset. I never thought about any of these things because everyone told me just sell stuff, set up a funnel and sell stuff online. It's going to be super easy. And I left the army to pursue this dream and this vision. And it was super, super hard, much, much harder than anyone told me. Everyone said it was super easy, and it wasn't. It was super hard. And it all changed. Obviously, I learned a lot of things, but it all changed when I started to look at why I'm doing what I'm doing. And the reason it changed was because when I realized that if I help enough people, I'm going to reach my goals myself. So we set a super, super bold goal. We set a bold goal to improve the life of 10 million people before the end of 2024. And that's a bold goal. But remember one thing, if you set a goal that is achievable within a couple of months or within a year, and you can achieve it yourself, you're not dreaming big enough. You're not dreaming big enough. And if you're not dreaming big enough, what's the point? I like the old quote, we didn't go to the moon because it was easy. We went to the moon because it was hard. And my vision for Coachbox and for what I do is to serve others and serve as many people as I humanly and possibly can. And the way I do this is by helping you so you can help others. That is my vision. That is my idea. And I have a full, almost a book with my vision that I share with people and that I talk about all the time. But if I condense it into something that we can talk about in this setting, this is the core of it. So my friend, what is your vision? Why do you do this? And what do you want to achieve? Create your vision. Write it down. It should spark interest. It should spark curiosity. So people say, hey, that's interesting. Can you tell me more about that? Because when you have a strong vision, a solid vision that you can actually share with others, you don't have to sell them on ideas anymore. Opportunities open up just by sharing the vision because people want to attach to other people that have great visions. Really, they do. So make sure you have a vision for life and a vision for your business that is something real and bold and big. A big, hairy, audacious goal is super important. A BHAG, it's called. I've heard it's a wonderful acronym. So what's your goal? That is the first piece of the homework that I want you to do. And once you finish this, I want you to post that in the Client Attraction Challenge group and share it with the rest of us so we can look at it, so we can understand what you want to achieve, and the people who want to achieve similar things or that can work together with you can connect and you can do these things together. That is really the power of a vision. And I get goosebumps talking about visions because it's so, so powerful. It's so, so important. So make sure to define your vision. If you want to know more about the vision, I have a couple of trainings on that on my YouTube page. Feel free to go check those out. But your vision, that's the first thing today. The next thing I want to talk about is the problem you solve. So when you have the vision, you can kind of tie that into understanding, all right, now I know where I want to go and what I want to achieve. All right, how do I want to get there? What's the problem I want to solve? And that's the next part of this. Is the problem you want to solve, is it business related? Can you help someone with their businesses? Can you help someone with health, spirituality, mindset, career, or something completely different? What is the problem you can help someone solve? And notice one super important thing here. You don't have to solve the entire problem, like everything they can possibly want to have help with. If you can help them move one step forward, if you are just one step ahead of someone, you can help them. And if you're one step ahead, that's an excellent position to be in. One step ahead will let you help others. I see this as being in the life raft in the middle of the Pacific Ocean and having someone in the water with sharks swimming below them, and you can give them a hand and you can help them into the boat. You're still on the Pacific Ocean, but you're in a much better place right now because someone else is flying the chopper right over there and they can pick you up. Or you can become the one that is driving or flying the chopper, but you need to be able to help someone one step forward. And if you can help someone just one step, That's a win for you and it's a win for them. And they desperately need the help. And you probably need to help others to be able to make money, to be able to fulfill your vision, your dreams, and everything you want to do. If you take the mindset of just helping others enough, finding one problem and just helping people with that problem, you're going to see results from that. I promise you. I promise you. I promise you. Exactly that has happened to me and so many of the clients I've been working with. So, what's the problem you solve? Think about that for a second. So, let's do an exercise. And here, if you're watching this on the replay, make sure now to go and get the workbook. And once you have the workbook, I want you to do this first step and then pause the video. Don't wait. Pause the video as soon as I have explained this. I'm going to tell you when to pause it. Now on the live here, we can't really wait for half an hour or so because it would be super boring for me to sit here in a half an hour or something like that and watch you do the exercise. So I strongly suggest if you're watching the replay, listen to the instructions and then pause the video. In this first step, I want you to take this piece of paper or whatever piece of paper you want to use, but I want you to take this piece and a piece of paper like this. And I want you to, on the lines here, make sure, let's actually get that one out of the way. Make sure on the different lines here, write down 30 different topics that interest you, that sparks curiosity in you. Because when it sparks curiosity in you, there's an important thing to this. So right now, take a pen and a piece of paper. I think it's important to do this with a pen and paper and write down 30 topics, any type of topics, horseback riding, parachuting. I like building websites. I'm curious about downhill skiing. I'm curious about making podcasts, whatever things inside of you that sparks curiosity. And you're going to be, by the end of this, you're going to understand exactly why this is, but I'm not telling you everything up front. So right now, get the handout or get a piece of paper, write down 30 things, and it needs to be at least 30 things that sparks curiosity in your mind. If you're watching the replay, pause it right now and do that. And for us on the live, and welcome back for those of you watching the replay, we don't have that luxury. So I want you to do this right after the live. The next part in this, once you have these 30 steps down, oops, wrong one. Once you have these 30 things that sparks interest or curiosity with you, I want you to cluster them. And what typically happens here, when you start to write down all of these things, when you start to write down different topics, something really, really interesting happens. And typically it goes like this. The first 4, 5, 8 or so topics, it's things you already know. Quite interesting. When I did this the first time, I slapped out a couple of them. It was super easy. By maybe the 8th thing, I was needing to start to think about it. By the 10th, I had no clues whatsoever. And I was sitting there staring at the paper and stare at the paper. That's part of this process. Because what happens is your conscious mind can't comprehend this anymore. It kind of turns off. It shuts down. And your subconscious mind is going to start popping things down to the paper. And what we're looking to do with this exercise is finding the things that you are curious about. That's the whole thing of this. And you might think that, well, I'm looking to build a business, not do something I'm curious about. Well, you'll understand here in a minute. But the thing is, when we let our subconscious mind give us suggestions and give us ideas, something really interesting happens. Things we deep down know we want to put to that paper, that our conscious mind would never write down on it, is going to start to come out. And when they start to come out, just write them down. And if you end up by having 50 points or 50 different topics on this paper, that's fine, but at least 30. And when you have that, look at this piece of paper and start to cluster them. Let's say you wrote down horseback riding, you wrote back winter sports, and you wrote down teaching. That is something you could cluster. You could do something with that. You could create a horseback riding place that people go in the winter where you teach them stuff. That could be one thing. If you wrote down cooking and you wrote down Mexico and you wrote down something else that kind of ties into it. That is something that you can work with. This is how we can create a cluster with things we can actually work with. And if we can create maybe 3, 4, 5 different clusters here, you're going to see it's actually a really fun process to do this, where you can start to cluster these and see what areas, and in those areas, see if you can find clusters that interest you. And which clusters interest you the most are the one we're looking for. And let me get out of the in the wellness or fitness or whatever area this might be, you can kind of narrow it down and see and find clusters that you kind of resonate with and say, hey, this looks interesting. Then it's time to go ahead and do some actual research on the topic. And what I want you to do as soon, oh, sorry, I'm jumping ahead of myself. I just told you this. Curiosity fuels passion. That's why we talk about curiosities. That's why I talk about 30 things that sparks curiosity with you. And when you are curious about something, that fuels passion, and passion fuels and makes mastery. If you do something you love on a daily basis because you are super passionate about it, that is how you get really, 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 really good at that specific thing. So you have to be curious about it. I have a framework that we call the KFC framework. We talk about knowledge, we talk about fun, and we talk about knowledge. See what this is? This is a brain freeze, my friend. Knowledge, framework. No. Always this happens. Can you relate to this? When you're doing a presentation, all of a sudden your mind like shuts off. What I mean, let me get straight to the point. If you're not doing things that are fun, if you're not doing things that you enjoy, we can spend a lifetime doing that. I have a friend who's an accountant, and he's been doing that for his entire career. He hates accounting, but he has a good job, so he goes up every morning, he collects a paycheck every month because it's nice, but he hates what he's doing. He's probably pretty good at it because he's been doing it for maybe like 40 years, but he hates it. Imagine if you spend 40 years doing something you love. Imagine if you spend 40 years waking up every single day, super passionate about something. How incredibly good can you become, and how incredibly passionate and wonderful would you be as an ambassador for that industry or that part of the niche? You would be the number one authority. Trust me on this. So make sure that you're curious about it and passionate about what you do. And once we have this, once we've kind of defined this and narrowed it down with the help of the clusters we created here, it's time to do some research, because you need to know that this niche or this topic actually works and makes sense for you. It's one of the most important things. And here are 5 suggestions that I think you should look into. Hmm. It's the sound back now. Hopefully it's back. Let me know in the comments below if the sound is actually back. Would have been horrible if I'm talking to no one here for a bit. I'll continue on. I hope it's working. Just back. Awesome. Then we have sound again. Missed for several minutes. That's horrible. I'll need to do a revamp of this. Uh, let's do a quick follow-up on this then. When did we actually see this? Horrible these things happen. What I'm going to do is I'm going to redo this once again to make sure that we have this. I'm going to continue here on from where we are right now. I'm going to go back to the recording and I'm going to update it. So if you couldn't hear me, I'll make sure to update that so you get a recording of everything that you actually heard. Wonder why that was. Let me know if you heard the exercise, because then I have some kind of reference to where I kind of stopped making sense to everyone. All right, let's continue ahead here. If you have clusters of things you know that are interesting, you can start to create a passionate business about this. And passion fuels mastery. I talked about this. I don't know if you heard this, but passion is the key to become a master in any craft. And when we can master a craft, we need to research to see if the topic we found and the topic we kind of worked around, if it actually is a viable area that we can do something with. And we do that by looking at if it's a new idea or if it's something someone already is doing. And hopefully it's something that someone is already doing, because that's going to help you drive more people to it, because people are already aware they need a solution to the problem. Then we can go online and we can use a search engine to actually search and see how many people are looking for a solution to it. We can also look how many people are looking for it and how much people are expecting to pay for a service like this. If people are paying $10 and you want to charge them 500,000, you're going to need to be a good salesperson. You're going to need to have great marketing to explain to people why something they could buy for $10 should be purchased from you for 500,000. And then you have to look at if it's easy to reach people and if it's easy to reach enough people in the online or offline world. We have to make sure that these things are there. And if we can say yes and find all of these questions, we're in a good spot. So the final step in all of this is the business plan. This is the business plan. And again, I'm not going to talk to you about how to make a financial business plan, because that's something else, or a budget for this. That's something completely different. But what I want you to do here, this ties in really well together with the vision we talked about. And you have in the workbook, you have an empty slide, this empty slide that you can use to fill this in. So let me look at this. We do this from the 3-year perspective because people tend to underestimate what they can achieve in 5 years, and they tend to overestimate what they can do in 1 year. So if we go to 3 years, I find that to be kind of the sweet spot when we do these type of things. So think about where you would be and what you would like to have in place in 3 years' time from today. Then I want you to write down and think about measurable results. How much are you actually bringing into your business in terms of sales and profits? Measurable results. Then I want you to write down why you're still doing this, whatever you're doing, 3 years from now. Why are you doing this? Then I want you to look at the lifestyle. How are you living? And what leverages or what possibilities have you leveraged around the way you're living to create even more possibilities for you and for others? And finally, I want you to write down, how is your business structured? At this point, how is it set up? Have you hired a team of people that do all the work for you and you just go in and do the coaching stuff? Or what have you created for your business at the 3-year point? The focus here should be on why you're doing this. That's the 3-year mark. This is what we can see far, far away, just coming up over the horizon. That's the 3-year point. Then I want you to look at the 1-year mark. And I want you to look again at measurable results. How much money do you want to bring in? How much sales and how much profits do you want to have in place 1 year from now? Measurable results. This is super important. Not fluffy stuff, but actual measurable things that you know, and you can say, this is an actual amount that I know. And I want you to look at what products you're offering. If you're a coach, you might be offering one-on-one clients, you might be offering courses, you might be offering retreats or workshop, whatever thing it is. What products are you offering? Then I want you to look at the capacity you have. And again, this is the plan. This is not the actual thing you have right now. This is the plan. What is the capacity for your business 1 year from now? And where would the capacity break if you were to increase the sales or enrollment by 10x? Would you be the point where it breaks because you can't serve that amount of people? Would the marketing side be the problem? What would be the issue for the business if it all overnight went to become 10x bigger? That's the what of the business 1 year from now. And then we come down to 90 days. That's close, guys. That's really close. It's just around the corner. What 3 products, 3 key projects can you launch in 3 months from now? What is super important to have done in 90 days from now that are ready to go, not planning? And what measurable results needs to be in place in order to do that? That's the how. And then finally, what needs to be done this week, and what 3 things, if you only did 3 things this week, what would those 3 things be that needed to be finished by Sunday? And the reason we do it in this specific order is that we reverse engineer this. The things that you have in place in 3 years, it has to be done in 1 year. And note that it's not as easy as like taking sales and profits and just dividing them by 3 and saying this is where I should be in 1 year. No, this is exponential. When we get to this point, if you have reached about 25% of the goal you want to reach in 3 years, you're in a very good position. So everything we do for the 3 years, we need to have in place 1 year from now. And what we have in 1 year, we need to have in place things to take us there 90 days out from today. And in order to have these key products done and things ready to go, we need to take action now this week and actually get going with this. We have to do that. Super important. So what are the 3 things we need to do? And a great suggestion, I have this on my wall right here, is for you to, instead of writing, because here, all of these things we will write down and we will revisit this every 3 year, every 1 year, every 90 days. But this we are going to revisit every single week and rework, tweak, and change. So I usually put a poster here on this one and say, what are the 3 things for this week? And then I can next week get the next one. But when you finish this, when you wrote down your vision for 3 years and where you want to be for the next 1 year, the next 90 days, write the date so you know what day to revisit this specific stage, and write the next part of this, the next phase of this. Because in 90 days from now, you're going to need to revisit it and look at what's going to have to done over the next 90 days. And 1 year from now, you're going to have to revisit this one and write down what's going to be the goals and objectives for the next year. So write down the date for when this is due for review. And you have this inside of the handouts as well. So to recap, I want you to explore and define your niche. And remember, it needs to spark passion and excitement. Using the tools and the steps that I showed you here, I'm going to look at the recording and make sure you get all the information when the sound cut out. Then I want you to envision and create the vision for your next 3 years. It needs to be bold and it needs to be scary. You should be scared to actually launch this vision and tell people about it. If you're not, if it's something you can reach alone, you're not dreaming big enough. You need others to contribute to this and help you build it. And then finally, I want you to map out and fill out the business plan for 90 days, 1 year, 3 years, and obviously for this week as well. I want you to do this, and I want you to go ahead and do this like right now. And then share your vision with all of us inside of the Client Attraction Challenge group so we can see what you want, where you want to go and what you want to do, and we can help you reach that goal. And I want you to do this as soon as possible because there is no time like now. We are on this earth for maybe 80 years if we're healthy and lucky. And I, for one, don't want to sit at the porch when I'm 85, looking out over the grass, looking at my grandchildren and thinking, I should have. Why didn't I? I don't want to do that. And I don't think you want to either. So when is the time? My friend, now is the time. You deserve this. You deserve to follow your dreams, follow your passions, and actually make a difference for yourself. If not for anyone else, at least for yourself. But when you do things for yourself, with your heart, and let the heart lead the way, that's how we fulfill our meaning in life. And you are put here for a very specific reason. And if you haven't started taking these actions to actually fulfill your dream and your destiny, and if you're not living the way you want to live or not doing the things you want to do, something needs to change. It could be taking part in the challenge. It could be doing something completely different. But I want you to take with you from this session today that you are in charge. You can control every aspect of your inner life and your outer life and take the actions you need to take. And I would be super, super happy and super, super proud to help you on this journey if you so choose. And you need to start taking these actions. My friends, feel free to drop as many comments, as many questions, as many things you want to talk about in the comments below. And remember, if you haven't already, go and sign up for the challenge at coachboxunity.com. We start on Monday, so have a fantastic weekend so far. Or so far, it's not a weekend yet, but have a fantastic weekend, and I look forward to seeing you there. Take care, my friend, and have a great day. Bye.